So, it seems tarps have not stood the test of time. It's about middle of February 2018, and I'm down to check on the boats. And this is the first time I've been down in about a month. Came down in January, and I was using zip ties to hold these tarps together. And apparently that's not working over here. Pegasus doesn't look that bad, but I had to fix one of those tarps last time we were down. This one wasn't as bad before, but apparently we got a good wind through here or whatever. There's no ice this time. Last time everything was iced up. There's big chunks of ice in that front tarp. So we're going to come over and check out Lissadell and see what's happening. I'm going to have to dig out the rudder. It looks like it's filling in. I don't know that the boat's necessarily settling, but that hole that was there was filling in. I don't see any oil canning, which is good. When I first got the boat, these stands were back here, you could see, and they were oil canning in. And I guess that's, there's slightly more of a bulkhead back here, which is where you want it. Unfortunately, with this wing keel, they tell you in the manual that it's best if the boat does not sit on that keel, that you should have a kind of a cradle that they provided, Oday provided. You could buy a cradle from them back in the day. Of course, Oday doesn't exist anymore, and we can't use cradles here because we have a hydraulic trailer that comes in and lifts our boats up these days. So we got to block them up with stands. So you get this oil canning if you put these stands in the wrong place. So I just have to remember kind of where they're at, and judging by what's inside where the bulkheads are and everything. Looks like I got a lot of water in this tarp I'm gonna have to take out, and looks like got a lot of water in this side and pulled that rope this way, which broke it off on the other side. So I guess we'll do that, get the water out of there. I'm not going to take the tarps off quite yet because I got another 6 weeks, maybe a month, till I can actually come down and really start doing. But before we get up on Lissadell there, we are going to walk across the yard over to my beloved Pegasus, which will probably be coming up for sale sometime soon. Again, I don't want to sell Pegasus until I know that one's going to be good. Let's see some of the other boats we have here in the yard. There's a Oday 322 over there, which is similar to my 302, just a little bigger. This is Hances Point Yacht Club. This is my yacht club up in Northeast Maryland, if you're not familiar. Pretty much everything from day sailors to some pretty good cruisers, although the biggest boats we have, I believe, are 35 footers, aside from two Gulfstar 37s, which are over here. And that's basically because for years we were limited by our rig that we lifted boats with. They could only be about 11 foot wide and 36 foot long. Otherwise it wouldn't fit in the slings. And so this boat in particular used to have to go somewhere else for the winter. But now that we have that hydraulic trailer, we're able to get bigger, heavier boats out of the water. So we actually have a Island Packet 350 over here that's pretty big and heavy. And Rafiki 35 that's pretty big and heavy. A bunch of Pearson 35s. And a catamaran up there has its own trailer, so he's been getting in and out on his own. And then we have Pegasus over here, which doesn't look too bad. The front tarp I had was jacked up last time I came down, So I took it down off that rope and just kind of laid it flat. Seems like it's doing pretty good. But you can kind of see the subtle differences between the two boats. 26 pace ship versus the Oday 302 back there. This hull is thick, and it will never ever oil can. Although you do want to put the stands sort of where there's a bulkhead, at least in the back. But nothing's ever going to happen to that hull. And you can see the size of the fin keel. And to my knowledge, like, I redid the keel, but I did not rebed it. And I don't know if it ever was rebedded, but it doesn't leak, it doesn't move. It's got like 12 bolts inside. So I'm not really worried about it. Whereas on the Oday, something that's always going to be in the back of my mind is that wing keel, because they have fallen off in the past. So we'll get up in here. And basically all I'm doing today is just opening up, getting some air moving, and plugging in the batteries to charge up a little bit. Looks like we fared pretty well. Got the right set of keys. Looks good. Don't see any water. Don't see any big drips or anything. Don't see any mold. Basically, for the winter, I put a bunch of these damp rids around, trying to suck up some of the moisture, and I leave this hatch open. It's got a cover on it outside, plus it's got a tarp. And for the interim here, I'm gonna pop open some hatches. There's some moisture there. Kind of open this hatch a little bit. Let's see if he's open up there. There we go. And then you see it. Everything put away. And honestly, I really don't have. Usually, I get some mildew kind of build up there, but. So basically what I have to do is decide, I'm going to empty everything out of Lissadell, I'm going to open everything up and see what I have, see what needs cleaned, all that kind of stuff, before I start moving anything off of here. Kind of what I'm in the middle of trying to figure out is, do I take my electronics from here over there? That boat does not have a chart plotter. It has a handheld GPS. That has an older VHF radio. Do I take this one even though this MSI number doesn't work? It's a good radio. The other one's old, and I'm sure that's a good radio too. But do I swap my stuff for that stuff, put that stuff on this boat? And that's about it as far as electronics go. I don't have a lot of electronics, just a chart plotter. All the cushions and everything on here stay, obviously, but my safety equipment and my supplies basically go to the new boat. But I'm not, like I said, not going to transfer that until I get the thing on the water and do some kind of sea trial on it to make sure everything's good. And I'm also not going to put this boat up for sale until that happens, because this is a very good boat and it's treated me very well for the last 9 years. So there's some things that I was planning on doing, like painting this cockpit and things like that, which I probably will not do, because it's not necessarily. I got this kind of stuff, spots that have filled in gouges, and old spots where former owners had removed something and filled it back there. It's not even like the deck hardware doesn't even need rebedded necessarily, although the stanchions could probably use some work. Because overall it's in pretty good shape. The bright work needs done, obviously. Again, and I'll leave that go probably for the new owners to do, because I got a lot of bright work, or just as much bright work on the new boat to do. So we'll see.